But do you think, Dr. Smiley, that anybody can get past Donald Trump in a Republican primary without attacking Donald Trump? They all are tiptoeing around him. They all are so afraid to talk about him. Even Tim Scott. I mean, that was the most bizarre presidential announcement ever. I mean, he looked like a black preacher that was, just wilding out. I don't know what he was doing.
On his first day.
His mama and the mama's best friend. It was just insane. But I don't know if that works. I've been a part of a lot of campaigns, and somebody at some point has to go negative, whether it's the candidate, him or herself, or that super PAC. But you cannot win in our political structure by thinking you're just going to talk about the issues and stay positive while your opponent is tearing you down. You got to use that oppo research at some point. So when does DeSantis have to confront Donald Trump? Because Trump said, I'm not even debating these clowns. They're not even worthy of being on the stage with me. So he ain't going to give them a chance to talk to him in person. But does this strategy work for DeSantis or any of these people, Haley or Tim Scott?
Yeah, I think they're all kind of biding their time to see when it will be the right moment to attack, right? And it's like one of those things where it's like, who's going to jump first? Who's going to jump first? And you're looking around. And, what I'm thinking is, whoever steps out first, whether that's Scott, Haley, or DeSantis, we'll probably see them all cascade afterwards. I'm sure that they all have things, primed and ready to go. But, there is this kind of idea that, Trump became the Republican Party. And as much as folks might want to be moving away from that, I think there is still a bit of a hesitation because of how, if we go back to 2015, Trump looked like the kind of outside candidate that had no chance, right? He dethroned, Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush. And so, and then, again, to Trump's credit, he is the biggest troll out there. So, folks could probably want to make sure that they're solidly in a good place before they can go after him, because, if he gets his dogs on you, it could spell trouble. So I don't know who's going to do it first, but it'll be interesting when it comes out.
So you are a strategist, Jamarr. This is what you get paid to do, is to advise candidates on how to run campaigns. Is this a smart strategy to start with this? I'm not going to attack my fellow Republicans. I don't know, maybe he's going to attack Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, but not attack Donald Trump. Does that work?
Well, I think it depends on the dynamics of the race. And what I'll add to what Dr. Smiley was saying is that, Donald Trump has a loyal base, right? And so if you attack Donald Trump, you're not just attacking Donald Trump. His supporters are very loyal, and his supporters do show up and vote, and they will vote against you. And so you have to be the one that rides the middle somewhat in this case to differentiate yourself from Trump.
Wait a minute, Jamarr, you got to peel some of those voters off to win that primary.
That's right.
And you got to convince some of Trump's voters that he's not their guy. So we hear that DeSantis is all in closed doors, talking about him on phone calls. But that ain't going to get you those voters. Talking to the mega donor saying he's not the right guy doesn't translate to the guy on the street that has to go into that voting box. You got to give him a reason not to vote for Donald Trump.
Absolutely. And I think the thing about campaigns, and I tell candidates this all the time, is it's about timing, right? And you've got to be able to go out there and talk to the electorate. You've got to be able to start feeling out the electorate. And so, I think that they'll figure out when that time comes. I don't see a world where, especially someone like a Ron DeSantis, who can be a firebrand himself when he wants to be, doesn't attack Donald Trump, doesn't try to differentiate himself from Donald Trump, and even try to get some of the Trump supporters to see, you can't go another way and still get the same result. And so that's the road that he's got to run. I do think that you'll see those attacks. It's early still in the Republican primary. We still have several months. And I think over the conversations that DeSantis and even some of the other candidates will have, they will get to a point where they have to start saying, I still believe in the same issues, but I'm not Donald Trump. And who does it first, who does it effectively, who does it on time is going to matter when it gets closer to folks going out to caucuses and primaries next year.
I think they got to go way, farther than saying I'm not Donald Trump. The man is likely to be indicted by the feds. The man is likely to be indicted by the Georgia district attorney. He's already got a $5 million judgment against him, and that plaintiff, E. Jean Carroll, is still in another lawsuit against him, so we can see another big judgment against him. So you got an opponent that has potentially, 2 or 3. He's got a trial date in March, right dead smack in the election in Manhattan, a criminal trial. So you got an opponent that's in trial, possibly indicted in 2 other jurisdictions, and you aren't going to be running ads with him in an orange jumpsuit and cufflink. I don't see how you do that and expect to win. And remember, the reason Trump's base loves Trump so much is because he is a bulldog. He is a bully. He just, he takes on everyone. So anybody that I can see that's dedicated to Trump wants to see that Trump-like, attribute in whomever they're going to vote for, that's going to be their replacement for Trump. Because otherwise you're going to get branded as weak, as soft. And the way Trump attacks these other candidates is going to be what people think of them. So if you can't stand up to Trump and not sugarcoat it and say, I'm not him, that's not attacking somebody. To say, I'm not them, that's could be a compliment. I don't know, it's definitely not an attack. But politics are too nasty in this country, particularly, presidential politics. I'm not a strategist, so I'm going to defer to you, Jamarr. It ain't my first rodeo either, and I just don't see that being an effective strategy.